Welcome back to another segment of Behind the Scenes of the Waltons. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I'm very excited to share today with all of you and hope you enjoy this little overview about Thanksgiving on the Waltons. The Waltons first emerged via The Homecoming in 1971. That Christmas made-for-TV movie aired on Christmas Eve of 1971. And since that time, I've talked to different friends, fans, viewers over the years who have talked about Thanksgiving being the time when they start to rewatch The Homecoming, that it sort of kicks off the holiday season for them. I don't know. Let me know when you watch reruns of The Homecoming during the holiday season. Do you just watch it once? Do you watch it multiple times? Share what you're doing with The Homecoming. Over the seasons, we've only done actually 2 episodes that were sort of Thanksgiving themed. And then subsequent to the series ending after 9 seasons, we also did in the next 10 years 2 reunion movies that were Thanksgiving themed. I thought I would take a look back and see just what sort of episodes we did around Thanksgiving over the various different seasons. So in season 1, The Legend, which was episode 10, aired November 16th, so just before Thanksgiving, while The Literary Man, episode 11, aired November 30th. So it seems that actually the week of Thanksgiving, the Waltons was preempted for some other sort of programming, perhaps some CBS holiday special. So don't quite know what went on there. In season 2, The Thanksgiving Story, which was a 2-hour episode, this was episode 11, actually aired November 15th. So it would have been 2 weeks prior to Thanksgiving that it aired, a week or 2 prior. So I'm not quite sure why they chose to air it 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. But episode 11 aired November 22nd, and The Bequest, episode 12, aired November 29th. So I'm guessing that CBS had their lineup of specials for the holidays, and so they gave The Thanksgiving Story an air date that also possibly maximized their ratings since the show was so popular by that time. When it came to season 3, once again, there was no actual Waltons Thanksgiving episode. Episode 11, The Job, aired November 21st of 1974, and The Departure, episode 12, aired December 5th. So once again, the Thanksgiving week, we did not have an original Walton episode that aired. In season 4, The Abdication, episode 11, aired November 20th of 1975, and The Estrangement, episode 12, aired December 4th. So we're beginning to see this pattern where CBS had some sort of other programming that they did actually the week of Thanksgiving. And so it's also possible that since most families might be gathering that evening and having, dinner, family, friends, whatever, that they felt that ratings maybe weren't as high on Thanksgiving. People weren't watching television that night, so maybe they didn't want to waste a Walton episode when they knew that it was a show that would bring good ratings when people were actually home watching. Continuing on to season 5, The Great Motorcycle Race, episode 10, aired November 18th of 1976. Then Thanksgiving week is skipped once again, and The Pony Cart, episode 11, aired December 2nd. Season 6, The Battle of Drusilla's Pond, episode 9, aired November 17th, 1977, and The Flight, episode 10, aired December 1st. Season 7, The Bow, episode 9, aired November 23rd, 1978. We skip Thanksgiving once again, and Day of Infamy, episode 10, aired December 7th. Of course, they would have wanted to line that episode up to actually air December 7th, since that was possible. When we got to season 8, there actually was once again a Thanksgiving-themed episode. This was The Waiting, episode 10, which aired November 22nd. And this would have been Thanksgiving Day in 1979. So we had a Thanksgiving episode that aired on Thanksgiving Day. And this was when John and Olivia had gone to Alexandria because John Boy had been found. He was in a coma at the hospital, so they went and were spending time with him there, while Rose was trying to gather the family to create a lovely Thanksgiving dinner, but none of the family was particularly feeling in a festive mood because they were worried about John Boy and also missing Mama and Daddy. Ultimately, the family got on board and did gather and work with Rose to prepare and enjoy a Thanksgiving meal, where John and Olivia ended up spending Thanksgiving with a turkey dinner tray in John Boy's room. Season 9, the first episode of the season actually was the two-part episode, The Outrage, which aired November 27th, 1980, which was also on Thanksgiving. And this was the first episode of season 9 due to the actors' strike, which had delayed the beginning of the season in season 9. So this was not a Thanksgiving-themed show, and they couldn't sort of try and make it that, because at the end of that episode was when we saw FDR's funeral train, and that actually happened in April. So they couldn't pretend. It would have been a little much to pretend that that happened around Thanksgiving. In 1982, we did A Day for Thanks on Walton's Mountain, which was one of 3 TV reunion movies we did the year after the series ended. In this one, Elizabeth is trying to gather all of the family for Thanksgiving, and she's very disappointed because Mama and Daddy aren't there and John Boy's not there, and it doesn't seem like Thanksgiving to her. And so people just seem to be scattered. The Baldwin sisters have been invited to Cousin Octavia's, but they don't really want to go. And it just seems like everybody's off with their own lives. John Curtis has been talking to a friend in the woods, and at one point takes Ginny out there, Virginia. And we ultimately find out if Mary Ellen and Jonesy are concerned that it's an imaginary friend, which in a sense it is and isn't, because ultimately we find out that it's Grandpa that he's been talking to somehow. The manifestation of Zeb, Grandpa, is speaking to John Curtis and Ginny. They both saw him in the woods. So that's a very sweet way that Will Geer's presence was included in this episode. And then in the end, the family and close friends all do gather for dinner that Elizabeth has made happen. And John comes back with Grandma. So Ellen Corby makes an appearance here. John Boy and his girlfriend at that point, Jane, come in from New York. And the Baldwin sisters, Ike, Corbeth, and Amy, and even Yancey are all there. And we have a Thanksgiving celebration. And finally, in 1993, we filmed one of the last 3 reunion movies we did. And this one was a Walton Thanksgiving reunion. And it's supposed to be the last Thanksgiving in the regular Walton house, because John's now going to build that house for Olivia up on the mountain that they've been talking about forever. And all the family is gathering, including John Boy, who brings Janet, his fiance. I don't remember if they're engaged at that point or not, or they get engaged shortly after, but they're coming for Thanksgiving. And then sadly, the assassination of John F. Kennedy occurs, and John Boy has to go back to New York to cover those events. Janet stays with us, and we work to, try and create a Thanksgiving. And by the end of it, in typical Walton fashion, everyone has gathered for Thanksgiving, and John Boy makes it back in time to celebrate with the family and also share the good news that John and Olivia have decided that they're not going to build the house on the mountain, that she wants to stay there in the Walton home. So nobody's moving from the house. In this final Thanksgiving reunion, although there were discrepancies, there were missing children, we did get to once again see a number of the supporting community members who had been such a part of the Waltons over all the seasons. That Richard Thomas was back as John Boy, and Ellen Corby was there. Ronnie, Claire, and Joe were back as Ike and Corbeth, and Rachel Longacre was back as Amy Godsey, who is now married with a baby. Helen Glebe and Mary Jackson were back as the Baldwin sisters. Leslie Winston was there as Ben's wife, Cindy. Tony Becker was there as Drew, Elizabeth's future fiance. Lynn Hamilton was present as Verdi, Robert Donner as Yancey, and even Peggy Ray as Rose, although there was no mention of Stanley, so perhaps he was hanging out with the missing children. I hope, like the Waltons, that this Thanksgiving you are able to gather with family, friends, loved ones, and enjoy the spirit of Thanksgiving and give thanks for all that you are grateful for. For myself, I am very grateful for my own family, my wonderful TV family, dear friends and loved ones, and this wonderful extended community that we have built. It means so much to me that all of you have gathered here and used my platform of this YouTube channel to gather and to commute and to create this lovely, compassionate, caring community that so exemplifies the spirit of the Waltons. In closing, I'd like to wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.